Remember last year when people said that the pandemic is going to last for a couple of months until maybe a year or more? Well, March na and definitely ang sagot ay or more. How are you doing? What can you do to keep surviving in the middle of a pandemic? That's what we're going to talk about in this new Trying Hard podcast episode. Hi there! Thank you for checking out my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. This is a live recording of the Trying Hard podcast episode. It's actually going to be episode 24 or 25 of the Trying Hard podcast. If you want to listen to this in audio lang, there will be a link in the description box sa baba para mahanap ninyo yung Spotify playlist or yung Apple Podcast playlist natin. But if you want to join me in this video, you can also stick around and we're going to start recording yung meat na nung ating podcast right now. Okay? Alright, so if you side dun sa sinabi ko kanina sa intro, let it be known na collective yung ginawa natin yan. Lahat tayo napabuntong hininga dun sa pure realization lang na it's been more than a year and it looks like it's going to take an even longer time pa than what we first expected. Sa recovery ng buong mundo, buong bansa, at buong community natin pagdating sa usapin ng COVID-19 pandemic. But in this podcast episode, again, dahil trying hard yung theme natin, we will veer away from the, desperation of situation. Not to say naman na all toxic positivity tayo ngayon sa episode na to, but you know how I always tell you about now and now what, right? So now, ang realization natin is that we are still in the middle of a pandemic. We still need to do what we can to help ourselves and our people survive. And we can now move on to yung second question, which is now what? Now what are we going to do? Okay? Tayo bilang mga individuals, bilang mga private citizens, bilang mga people who may not be in a position of power, what can we do to help ourselves and our families survive this pandemic? One of the things that I first said in one of the podcast episodes that I recorded with Joy Spring, dun sa Adulting with Joy Spring last year, was this, yung mantra ko, which was stay safe, stay sane, and then stay productive. The idea there is you have to stay safe muna, physically safe. You have to stay safe pagdating sa health precautions. And then stay sane, ibig sabihin you have to take steps when it comes to taking care of your mental health and your mental wellness. And then pangatlo na yung stay productive, which is, I guess, goal naman nating lahat. And I still stick to that. But I guess after a year, iba na yung burden eh. Iba na yung feeling. Kasi, you know how sometimes we sit, sabihin natin sa dentist's chair, right? If any of you have been to the dentist na may kailangang procedure na gawin, and with me having braces for a long time, I think it was 7 years, and then having yung fixed bridge installed sa buong top na teeth ko, and sa all of those hours I spent sa dentist's clinic, I know how it feels na yung pag-una kang uupo, parang okay ka pa. Parang pag narinig mo yung drill, parang okay pa, kaya ko to. Pero pag tumatakbo na siya ng mga 20 minutes, 30 minutes, pag lumampas na doon, and some of the procedures I had done, talagang half a day or minsan buong araw pa. Meron nang umaabot sa point na parang nag-out of body experience na tayo halos. Parang, I just want this to be over. And each second now feels like it's even longer than before. And I know with, the announcement ng ECQ and NCR, and with all the cases rising right now, again, not minimizing the truth na, again, the risk is always there. Lahat tayo may feeling na ng disappointment, frustration, may feeling na ng pagod na lang tayo dito sa pandemic na ito. So, let me give you 4 things that I encourage you to do kahit na isang taon na tayo into this global pandemic. Okay? Now, ang first tip ko sa inyo is this, and I guess it's very obvious naman, no? Number 1, you have to stay informed. You have to stay informed as much as ayaw natin minsan to push yung limits ng comprehension natin, or minsan nga, pagod na nga tayo sa trabaho, sa chores and everything else, sa pag-aaral. Parang ayaw na natin magbasa, ayaw na natin mag-research, ayaw na natin mag-consume ng content related to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I've been there, no? Alam ko rin yun, yung parang ayaw mo na lang manood ng balita kasi puro bad news na lang naman yung makikita mo. We can do those things to preserve our mental health, no? Pero what we have to remember is that we still have to stay informed sa mga bagay na nangyayari. If we just scroll through Facebook at kung ano na lang yung next na viral na news na darating ang mababalitaan natin, or opinion from people around you who may not necessarily be medical experts, baka malimitahan yung information at yung kalidad or quality of information that we have about this pandemic. You know, with vaccinations and with announcements about the mutating strains and stuff like that. I know minsan technical siya, no? Lalo na if we're just, simple, ordinary citizens, hindi naman tayo nasa medical field. But it's really important for us to stay informed. So I know it's a lot to take in. I know a lot of information has been going around, but we really need to put it sa sarili rin natin, yung task to stay informed and on top of these things. So I encourage you to look for resources, no? Find credible resources. A lot of people are talking about it online then. A lot of doctors, no? One of my new friends, online friends, is Doc Kiliman Guru, no? And he has his own TikTok channel and meron din siyang Facebook page. And he's been speaking out about, fake news and yung misinformation about vaccines and other stuff na kailangan pag-usapan pagdating sa health. And I really encourage you to check out his page and his channel, no? Hindi lang naman din siya, marami ring ibang mga sources ng balita, di ba? I-follow nyo na yung WHO, i-follow ninyo yung mga pages na nakikita natin ay nagpe-present ng credible na balita. Okay? Kasi as much as gusto nating kalimutan yung mga bagay na ito, every now and then dapat nating balikan so that we know what to do. Okay? So maliban dun sa lagi na nating naririnig at lagi rin natin dapat ginagawa, which is to wash our hands, to minimize contact, to try to stay at home as much as possible. More than that, we also need to stay informed. And yung klase rin ng information na kinokonsume natin really plays a huge role. So if you haven't seen, medyo shameless plug, no? If you haven't seen yung aking video on how to spot fake news sa YouTube, you can find it sa Internet Safety Series natin sa Team Lyqa YouTube channel. You can check that out. If you feel na yung people around you, especially, alam natin, medyo pro ng elders dito, no? Mas madali silang maniwala sa fake news circulating online. Maybe you could share it sa inyong timeline, share it sa inyong messenger group with your family para lang ma-inform natin sila. Kasi alam natin lahat that, bad information, it spreads din ng mabilis. And it's hard to make people believe the truth kung naunahan na sila ng fake news. So again, number one, you have to stay informed. Okay? We all have to stay informed. As much as feeling natin minsan hindi natin kaya, we have to really look for credible information. So, hindi ko sinasabi na manood kayo ng news every day, no? Even I don't do that. Marami ako masyadong ginagawa. But every now and then, make sure that you revisit itong mga news sources na ito and find out kung ano yung nangyayari. Okay? We have to stay informed. Kasi kung kakalimot lang natin or iisipin lang natin na maliit na bagay lang ito, di ba malilimitahan din yung mga steps na kailangan tayong gawin to protect ourselves and our loved ones. Okay? So again, number one, you have to stay informed. Check din kung credible yung sources. Check kung hindi lang siya ang source ng balitang ito. Kasi we have to understand that when it comes to looking for credible information, dapat multiple sources confirm it. So again, it falls on you to do your research. Okay? Number one, stay informed. Number two, medyo automatic na. I guess lahat naman tayo. Hate na natin tong pangalawang step na ito. But you have to stay indoors, no? As much as possible. Now, of course, we know that there are people who are more privileged. Like, I would go as far as saying na I am one of those people na privileged kasi my work has been online for the past 5-6 years, primarily online. So, without yung mga national na exams like civil service, NAPOLCOM, walang college entrance tests like before on a national level, hindi ko rin kailangan mag-travel to teach. The times na kailangan kong mag-speak sa mga webinars, pwede namang online. Kahit minsan sa brand deals, natatawaran rin namin, nasasabi ko na instead of me going to the studio because kailangan ko ingatan yung health ko, gagawin ko na lang sa bahay. So instead of, stepping out of the house, bumili na lang ako ng equipment para kahit papaano maganda naman yung quality ng content that we produce at home. And again, I'm privileged, no? Alam natin yan lahat na hindi tayo pare-pareho ng sitwasyon. But for those of you who can, di ba, stay at home, stay indoors as much as possible, please do that. So kung saan na tayo marinig, and I know galang-gala na tayo, no, pa-summer pa naman, and one of the things na I guess would be a bit controversial din is seeing a lot of influencers, a lot of my friends din, my personal friends, travel around the country itong past few weeks leading up to the ECQ, no? So nakakita na tayo ng mga people na nakaka-afford naman pumunta sa beaches and nakakalabas naman sila. So meron ng kaunting seed ba ng FOMO, no? Fear of missing out. Pero I really encourage you to stay indoors pa rin as much as possible for your protection, for your family's protection. And in many ways, for the protection din of other people who are outside. Mag-Holy Week or kaka-Holy Week lang by the time you're listening to this probably. And I was really quite worried about that. Kasi baka mamaya, iba, even in the provinces na kumbaga hindi pa naaabot ng mga bagong strain ng virus, madalan sila doon dahil sa mga people who will be going back to their provinces for the holidays, no? Filipinos, it's so hard for us to stay indoors kasi social beings tayo. Mahilig tayo sa family reunions, mahilig tayo sa get-together. Pero, again, just to survive this pandemic, please try to stay indoors as much as possible. Okay? Now, yung first two na yan, medyo obvious, medyo madali. Yung latter two sa 4 na tips na ito, I feel, are really going to dig deep. So, yan ang pag-uusapan natin. Alright, so stay informed kahit na minsan nakakapagod na. Stay indoors kahit minsan nakakainggit na at gustong-gusto na rin nating lumabas. Number 3 ay, I hope you stay interested. Now, puro in kasi, no? Pinilit ba yung interested? Actually, hindi naman. A huge part of our coping mechanism last year hindi lang as a nation, no? But as an entire human race, no? Is itong mga pagpasok ng mga panibagong interests. People started planting plants, taking care of plants at home. People started painting again, drawing again. Dalgona coffee, right? Ube cheese pandesal. All of these things, the trends that we saw that came and caught fire and became a national interest online and offline, ginuhat talaga siya nung isa sa mga needs natin when it comes to coping and surviving. We need to stay interested in other things. Okay? And it's more than just wasting time. It's more than just finding a way to, divert your attention. No? Hindi eh. We have to stay interested because we need to. We need to keep our brains engaged, right? Kasi kung hindi tayo maghahanap ng panibagong hobby, hindi tayo mag-start na magsulat or magpaint or anything na makaka-catch ng ating eye, mapapagod yung utak natin, di ba? Ano bang iisipin mo maliban dun sa pandemic if hindi ka gagawa ng ibang bagay, right? Maraming time to kill ang maraming tao. Again, recognizing that this is a privilege, no? But we have to keep our brains active. We have to keep our minds active. We need to find certain interests, right? To fill the void ng dating commute that we do. For those of you who are working at home, like all of this extra time that we have on our hands, how do we spend it? Diba? Hindi naman natin ikakaila that a lot of, sabihin na natin, literary work or even creative work na nangyari before sa ilang henerasyon na ng human race ay binuhat ng pandemic, right? A lot of the masterpieces, a lot of the novels that we like and we deem as classics, sinulat talaga sila sa oras na may pandemya din or na may struggle din nung panahon na yon. Great Depression, nagsilang siya ng maraming works. Ang plagues, okay? They used to call it plagues pa before. Nagsisilang din sila ng bagong generation ng poets, ng writers, okay, ng painters. And I would hate for us as a generation to lose that chance. So I hope that you're staying interested in other things, okay? Balikan ninyo yung mga bagay na dati wala tayong oras, right? Ako personally, I started painting again. I started writing again. I started compiling my poems, and I know some of you are requesting that we publish the poems that I wrote from before. I'm actually considering doing that because I know that I have to keep my brain active. I know that I have to keep my brain interested. And in our household, my dad actually took to planting greens ngayon. No? Ang dami niyang mga halaman, mahilig siyang magstay outside to plant. Kahit na sinisira ng pusa namin yung mga tinatanim niya, he does it. And I know he does it talaga deliberately to keep himself active kasi retired siya eh. And yun yung pinagkakaabalahan niya ngayon. So again, I encourage you na while you're indoors, stay interested in other things. This is the perfect time for you to learn, to teach, to cultivate relationships with other people. You know, let me just say, I actually gained a lot of friends in the past year. A lot of content creators then, a lot of people in the industry that I am in, simply because we started collaborating. We started, writing comments sa videos ng isa't isa. May entire group na ng TikTok titas that, we talk sa comment section ng videos namin. I am yet to have a longer conversation with them, hopefully soon, and hopefully mag-guest ko din sila dito sa podcast na ito, di ba? Pero sila Tita G, si Kathleen, Voice Over Flowers, of course, si Coach Chubby, my twin sister, Inka has become, I would say, an acquaintance or even an online friend, no? So, ang daming ko ng mga nakilalang mga bagong tao this past year. I was just in a podcast with Cara Erigel. Go and check it out. It's called After 30 with Cara Erigel. Nandun ako sa isang episode niya. Nagkaroon ako ng maraming friends this past year. So even that, like, stay interested in other people, right? Stay interested in other things that you can do to make this pandemic more productive. Kasi I think we have to rethink din yung definition natin of productivity. Kasi a lot of times, akala natin yung productivity is all about working and working to earn money. Pero hindi lang siya about that. It's also feeding your brain. Okay? So, stay interested in other things. Explore your, matagal nang binuri na mga interests at skills. Start reading again. Start writing again. Start dancing again. Sing again. You don't need to be good naman to the point na pwede mo siyang pagkakitaan. You just need to really feed your brain. Okay? So, again, number 3, stay interested. Now, yung fourth one, I would say would be maybe the most challenging of the 4. Yung stay informed kasi it goes without saying, kind of, no? Yung stay indoors, medyo it makes sense naman din talaga. Stay interested, okay, fine, everyone does that. Pero yung fourth one, I think, malaking hurdle siya eh. Malaking challenge siya. Malaking task. At malaking energy ang dinedemand niya from us. It's this, no? Number 4, you have to stay inspired. Stay inspired. Again, no, with the collective sigh na parang, paano ka ma-inspire? Lyqa, coach, di ba? Paano ka ma-inspire ate eh? Ubus na ako. Wala na akong motivation. Pagod na ako. Parang, akala ko magtitiis lang. Nagtiis naman ako. Bakit hindi naman nag-i-improve? Or bakit hindi ko pa nakikita na this is going to end soon? Parang kumbaga, ang tagal natin nasa tunnel, no? Pero hindi pa natin nakikita yung light at the end of the tunnel. And again, that feeling, I acknowledge that feeling, no? It's really there. And as much as gusto natin na maging hopeful at 100% positive all the time, it just isn't possible, lalo na sa panahon ngayon. So I really encourage you to just survive, okay? Just survive muna ngayon. If you feel na parang hindi ka masyadong as productive as before, that's okay. But you have to stay inspired. Now, ano yung stay inspired, no? A lot of people define inspiration or staying inspired as in dapat lahat ng tinatouch mo magta-turn into gold, no? Lahat ng videos mo dapat mag-viral, lahat ng projects mo dapat successful. Para bang sinasabi natin na inspired ka if you're able to create a masterpiece. And because we are unable to do that right now, kasi nga nasa pandemic tayo, you feel a little bit guilty na parang, ako, hindi ako as inspired as I was before. Dati nakakagawa ko ng artwork, na yung mind ko, it travels sa different places. Pwede kong natatapos ko yung work in 30 minutes, in an hour. Ngayon, it takes me twice as much time. But I think, again, no, we have to look at the word inspiration, okay, and what it really means. Yung staying inspired kasi, yung inspired as an adjective, no, hindi lang siya nag-uugat dun sa salita na to inspire as in to lift or to lift someone up or to motivate someone. But it's where our minds go. Feeling natin, if you stay inspired, ibig sabihin you're inspiring other people, or you are also in that natural high na parang motivated ka, inspired ka, talagang ganadong-ganado kang mag-perform at the utmost of your ability. But there's another meaning to the word inspired, okay? Now again, ano lang to ha, for lack of a better illustration, ginagamit din itong term na to sa theology, specifically sa word ni God, no? Sinasabi, ang scripture is inspired or God breathed. Now ano may ibig sabihin ng inspired? Ibig sabihin nun is that kung inspired ka, pwede kang inspired as in mataas yung level ng productivity mo, ganado ka, you have that feeling, or you can be inspired as in you are filled with motivation from someone else. Okay? So to be inspired or to stay inspired isn't just the feeling na 100% okay ka. To be inspired then means that you are getting some of your energy, your motivation, your feeling na you have to keep going from someone else. That is what inspired means. Dun sa idea ng being breathed or filled by another source. So, anong ibig sabihin ng challenge for us to stay inspired? Ibig sabihin nun, to stay inspired isn't just chasing after the feeling. It's also surrounding ourselves with people who will also inspire us, who will breathe life into us, who will encourage us, who will uplift us, who will transfer some of their positive energy sa atin. Ibig sabihin nun, sa akin, personally, when I challenge myself to stay inspired, even if we're in the middle of a pandemic, ang interpretation ko niyan is this: I have to be breathed in by the people that I was able to help before. You know, one of the things I started doing deliberately these days is whenever someone sends me news na pumasa sila sa isang exam, like lumabas yung results sa PNPA CAT, okay? So yun yung exam for people who want to get into the Philippine National Police Academy, mga batang nangangarap maging police or maglingkod sa bayan. When I saw their messages, I take screenshots of it, no? And I read it and I let myself feel happy for being able to be a part of their journey dun sa pangarap nilang maging police. When I see people saying na nagkatrabaho na ako, coach, finally, di ba, with the help of the Get Hired podcast, which I also have, if in case you don't know about it. Like, yung mga news na yan, I let it fill my heart. I let it inspire me to do something more. So again, dun sa last na piece of advice ko, which is to stay inspired, I'm not just talking about you being able to feel and give inspiration to other people. I want you to stay inspired by taking in encouragements, taking in words of motivation, taking in, if you believe in the Bible, verses of affirmation from other people. Like, kunin natin kung ano yung makukuha natin. Kunin nyo yung makukuha ninyo from this podcast or even the other podcast episodes, right? Take it in. Be inspired by it. Be breathed in by that. Because in many ways, again, we needed to survive. So again, 4 things sa inyo, lahat tayo trying hard to survive a pandemic. What can we do? Number 1, stay informed. Number 2, stay indoors as much as possible. Again, Kung kailangan talaga, mag-ingat na lang, maghugas ng kamay, wear your mask, make sure that you practice physical or social distancing. Make sure that you take a bath as soon as you get in the house, no? Number 3, stay interested. Find a hobby, find a creative way to express yourself, your feelings, your emotions, your frustration. You really have to start reaching out. And number 4, stay inspired. Stay inspired to do something, to contribute. Yes, nandun na rin tayo. Pero stay inspired, as in, stay taking in from other people as well. And I guess sa lahat ng ito, one thing that could sum it up is interconnectivity. So, in pa rin yun. Pinilit ko talaga yan. So, lahat sila in. You have to think in terms of that. Na everything we do is connected to other people. The information that we take in, connected siya. The information that we share online, connected siya sa ibang tao. The things that we do, what we put up on the internet, it can either inspire someone, it can motivate someone, or at least if we share our struggles, it can help people understand na hindi sila mag-isa. This is a masterclass in empathy, the pandemic. And I hope we learn as much as we could. Kasi if we truly do, then as an entire human race, we can actually be better than the generations before us. So yan muna for now, and I know medyo mabigat, medyo challenging, but I hope you picked up a thing or two. If you want to join the conversation, don't forget to use the hashtag #TryingHardWithLyqa. That's TryingHardWithLyqa para mahanap namin kayo online. You can also tag me sa Twitter at Lyqa Maravilla, sa Facebook, sa page natin at Lyqa Maravilla, and of course the Trying Hard Podcast community on Facebook. You can find it na lang, Trying Hard Podcast community, where you can share your experiences and insights then with other people. The other tryhards who listen to this podcast. Don't forget to follow this podcast if you haven't yet. Share this then with your friends if you feel that they really need a bit of encouragement for today. And as always, lagi natin naman sinasabi, di ba? Even when it comes to surviving, we are the people who dream big, work hard, start now, and aren't afraid to be called trying hard. Let's try hard to survive. Please survive. We need you. Yun muna for now, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, so that's the episode for now. Again, thank you for joining me sa videocast na ito. If you want more, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon. Share this na rin. Let me know what you think. And if you have any requests for topics that you want us to talk about in the Trying Hard podcast, you can write a comment na lang sa ilalim. I'll talk to you soon, and bye for now.